Lead follow-up, the habit of champions. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and I want to welcome you to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. If this is your first time listening to the show, head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And I've got a gift there for you, and this is the exact script that I use and that I have my team use when we talk to motivated sellers, right? Word for word, I tell you what to say, how to say it, when to say it, all the expressions. So go ahead and go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. Okay. And that is my gift for you today. Now, let's talk about the habits of champions, specifically the all-star habit, and that is lead follow-up. If you are scratching and clawing to get your first deal, this episode is for you. And if you've already locked up deals, and you want to make a lot more money, and you're tired of not getting the ROI that you want, or you're tired of not killing it, this episode is also for you, because today's concept is just so simple, yet so ignored. I can tell you that 99% of real estate investors, wholesalers, do not listen to what I'm saying today. But if you do this, you're going to separate yourself from the pack by just showing up. Please, I implore you to listen to today's episode. If you do just this, you will win. And you will win big. Your competition sucks. You don't suck because you listen to this podcast. All right. And I pride myself on coaching the top 1% of 1% of wholesalers in the country. Okay. So let's talk about the hot smoking deal. So the hot smoking deal is when you do some marketing or you cold call a seller and they say, I want to sell my house right now for a great price and I'm totally motivated, and come on over and let's do a deal. And man, I got to tell you, I love those deals. My team loves those deals. If you've been in this business, I'm sure you love those deals. It's every single real estate investor's dream. But you know what? I'd like a six-pack without having to eat clean and work out. Okay. This is not reality. You may get lucky every now and then and find a smoking hot seller, right? They do come, and we've locked up those deals, but I can tell you that they are a very small portion of what you do. Now, if you're saying, well, all my deals are like this, well, that's great. Good for you. But I can tell you that you're missing out on a lot of deals. You're missing out on 70, 80% of the deals. Big ones, because sellers, they don't do business on your timeline. They don't do business when you send them a postcard. They don't do business when you cold call. They do business when they are ready to sell. Okay, now, when you do some kind of marketing, that marketing is only to start a relationship, to start a conversation, to be the person that they call when the time has come. Think about it. What are the chances that someone's going to get a postcard or a cold call or a text message exactly at the time that you contact them, right? It's like lightning striking. It's like sitting in a field and waiting for lightning to strike. Okay, now, of course, you could do things. You could cover yourself in water and metal and stand in a field. Sure, and that's one thing I'll recommend for you to do. Not actually do that with lightning, but I mean marketing-wise in real estate, okay? But you got to set yourself up success with the habit of follow-up, okay? Now, nobody loves this topic more from me because I've mastered this. I coined a term called no lead left behind. I got everyone and their mother copying me out there, right? But it's no lead left behind. What does that mean? That means that we follow up with people until they sell their property or they die. And when they die, we're going to follow up with their heirs until they sell the property, okay? The whole lay down thing, that's misleading. Now, the great part about this business is that if you're consistent, I'm telling you, it's easy, right? Consistency makes this business easy. So, little stat for you. I ran some numbers out of my business, and last year in 2021, the average length of time that a deal was in our database, are you ready for this? 6 months. Okay, 6 months, the average deal was in our database. Now, I don't want that to scare you because that is skewed, right? We had many deals that were in our database, 1, 2, 3, even 5-year-old leads. So that skews the average, right? Of course, we had some laydowns. We had some people who did business with us in a month, 2 months, 3 months, but the average is 6 months. 6 months, which tells you that your competition, they're only looking for the low-hanging fruit, right? And they're running themselves ragged, and they're thinking, what's the new sexy marketing channel? And, what's the new market? And, what's the new strategy? And I can tell you that they suck. So if you stay focused and you understand that the best leads are right in front of you in your database, you are going to win, baby, win. All right. There's a great song by Nelly. I think it was in the 90s or 2000. And it was like, all I do is win. All right. And that's what you're going to do. Because if you follow up, you become a follow-up monster. All you're going to do is win. Okay. By the way, if we find a way around copyright, maybe we could splice that song here at the end. I'm not sure if we can do that, but that would be awesome. Okay. Remember, the beauty of this is that your competition sucks and they're not going to do this. So what's the key? You need to follow up constantly. I've talked about this in detail here. So how do you follow up? Well, number one is that you want to use a multitude of different ways to do that. With your hot and warm leads, this is people who have some kind of motivation. You always want that phone call. Okay, that's very, very important. You want that phone call. I don't use any other communication techniques except for a phone call or in person on a hot and warm lead. Very, very, very important. Okay, don't text or email. What I mean by text, I mean like any kind of auto blast text, right? Or an auto email, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. You don't send them, written offers if they're motivated and you're going to meet with them. You want to get that fish and you want to reel it in, keep it tight, and always have that next step and talk about those commitments, right? What does the seller have to do to make that decision, and what is the next step after that? I talk a lot about that in the No Limit Selling System and gaining commitments. If you want to know more about that, go to nolimitsalesystem.com. nolimitsalesystem.com. That's the exact system I use to lock up deals in our own company, and that's responsible for over 1,300 deals internally and tens of thousands of deals across the country from the top real estate investors. So, what about the others? Well, next, you want to send a written offer to everyone who you talk to who's not a hot and warm lead. I don't care if they are ice cold. I don't care if you are $100,000 apart. Send out the offer, because most sellers are trying to protect themselves from you, right? You are trustworthy. Okay. They just don't trust you yet. So they're not telling you all their motivation. And so you're going to miss something. So send out a written offer in the mail, and preferably also by email. So email and snail mail. By the way, the little hack that we use is we have somebody on our team who they just hit task, send an offer, and we have a virtual assistant do it for us. And they write up the offer, and they have a Zillow button, and they email it out directly to the seller, and then also send it snail mail. Okay, without the acquisition specialist having to do that. Saves them so much time. I talked about that actually on my last podcast, that for 1 out of every 50 offers on ice cold sellers who we thought had no business doing, who we thought had no motivation, called us back and did the deal. Okay, do not overlook this habit. Next thing, you want to export your database, and you want to follow up. And we like to text message our database at least once a month, and that's going to follow up. So think about it. All these leads are going to get hit once a month by a text message. And also, when you send out that offer, you also have an excuse to get their email. Right? Very important. Why do we send it by mail and email? That's because we want their email address so we could do the email follow-up. We're going to put them on an autoresponder. They're also going to get hit once a month by email. Very, very, very important. If you're in a state that allows ringless voicemail, go ahead and check your attorney. You can also use ringless voicemail. We've used that in the states that we are allowed to do. Let me give you a golden nugget. And I'm telling you, this is so true. Right now, you've got $250,000 sitting in your database. $250,000 right now is sitting in your database. If you've been in business for any length of time. Think I'm wrong? I could tell you that every new acquisition specialist that I've started, I've made them dig through the database and find money. Okay, find money. No joke. This happened over the weekend. We have a new acquisition specialist, new team member who wants to join us. We have not hired him yet. We normally have these people spend a day with our current acquisition specialist to get on the phone and see how they like the position, see if this is for them. He's going through this new person is going through our database. Acquisition specialist has already called him, never gotten him on the phone. Kid gets on the phone, boom, gets a motivated seller on the phone, screens him all kinds of motivation, meets him last weekend. That was Sunday. I'm recording this on a Tuesday. All right. Didn't get the contract, but I can tell you what, it sounds like we're going to get the deal. Okay. This lead is months old. And we had not contacted this person by phone. Okay. Or excuse me, we had not been able to get this person on the telephone. Right. We had called a bunch of times. It's sitting in our database and we missed it. Okay. Now, the great thing is that we have these systems in place to catch this. Okay. Do not let this be you. Extract that 250 grand out of your database right now and do that every quarter. And I'm telling you, your profit will thank you. Your bank account will thank you. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a real tough love here. And that is follow-up is not a luxury. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, I don't want to do this, fine. Have your team do it. All right. Get somebody on the phone to help you. If you want to survive in this business, if you want to be a slayer, if you want to make money, if you want to be in the top 1%, right? Or if you just want a thriving business, you've got to follow up. You've got to follow up. Your competition sucks. So this is great. Just show up and you are going to make some money. Okay. This is not a luxury. Now, here's the beauty of it. I'm going to give you some other stats if I have not, or one more stat here that's going to blow your socks off. And, the truth is that I was actually shocked when I saw this. But 80% of our deals in 2021 were in our database for more than 60 days. Okay, 80%. So I was assuming when I gave you that number, that the average, I thought that like the average of the 3 and the 4 and the 5 deals, that really skewed that out, right? But 80% of our deals were in our database for more than 60 days. So that tells you that this is a necessity. I'm going to review here. Number one, it's okay to love hot smoking deals that are called laydowns, right? That is okay. I love them, right? I won't hate you for loving those either, but they are the minority. They're not the majority. You can't run a business off luck. Okay. The average deal in our database has been in there for 6 months. Now that is misleading, okay, because obviously there's a 3, 4, and 5 there, but we have deals that pop up 1, 2, 3, 5 years on average. Okay. You need to follow up constantly. You want to send out written offers. You want to use text messages. You want to use email. Get that email by sending out a written offer to people. Remember, there are $250,000 sitting in your database right now. You heard that story of that new team member we're thinking about bringing on, that he found that smoking hot lead. This was just on Sunday. Okay. Remember, this is a necessity, not a luxury. All right. And then remember that 80% of our deals were in our database for more than 60 days. I'm telling you, if you listen to this, your business is going to explode. Okay. Use the script. Go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. Download that script, get on the phone and follow up, and your bank account will thank you.